7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to Freethought in Florida. Freethought in Florida is a production of the Atheist community of Polk County. I'm Sarah Ray. I'll be your host. And with me tonight, Devon Graham. Devon, how are you?
Hi. I'm doing really
Hi.
well. How about you?
Wonderful. Wonderful. It is...
My teeth are really big.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
How high are you? It is
Not.
the 6th. The 6th of August. I can't believe it. School is starting up, and boy, howdy, do we have a lot to talk about when it comes to schools in the state of Florida. I will say, as we're going along tonight, we're going to talk about sort of all the garbage things that are happening here in the state of Florida, and I have like one neighborly story of another state that's a bit religiously related. But if you want to weigh in on any of the things that we're talking about, you can give us a call at 253-900-2272. That's 253-900-2272. If you want to join the conversation, I want to know, like, we talked last week, like, we're changing our kids' school and all of that stuff. So, like, how's your school handling things? I know there's a bunch that are defying state orders. Like, are you sending your kids back? Are you comfortable about that? Like, watching all of these things. We're going to talk about it all, but as we go along, if you want to chip in, please give us a call.
Yes, please do.
That said, thank you to all of our patrons at patreon.com/polkatheists. Those wonderful people are giving us money to keep the show going and support all of the things that happen at the Atheist community of Polk County. You get, there's some awesome bonus Patreon content you get access to as well. So check that out. And of course, rate, review the show on Apple or Google or anywhere you get your podcasts. Give us 5 stars. If you're not going to give us 5 stars, then just don't. And tell your friends.
I'd rather not.
Right.
I'd rather you not.
Right. Okay. What's going on with you? What's happening?
Nothing really.
No?
There's been a lot of school catch-up stuff this week. It's, school start.
Yeah.
And I am one of those jerks that's sending my kids to school because we can't do the homeschooling.
Yeah.
We don't. It doesn't work for us and for at least one of our kids. So we did a lot of school stuff this week. I'm fairly comfortable with how Leon County is handling this. They did a really good job last year.
Mm-hmm.
They showed some slight balls this week by asking the governor if we could not abide by his no masks policy, or But I had the feeling there'll be a lot of masks in the schools. The teachers definitely are wearing them, and
yeah.
I'm
And like,
okay
listen,
about
no shade to the people who are like, I got to send my kids back to school. Like, I have to work, and I just have to.
Yep.
And I think what we are all collectively angry about is that the people who are supposed to be making the decisions to protect our children are refusing to. Don't get angry at your local school board, because with the rare exception of the few counties that are like, okay, whatever, governor, we're going to still do what we, we're still going to require masks, and you just try to not send us the funding. That's a risky, ballsy move for a school district to do. But most of them are just like, well, we can't, like, we need the money from the state, so I guess we have to do what they tell us.
There was, I forgot if we're talking about this later. I'm just going into it. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
I do what I want. But
you don't know me.
So the whole executive order that Governor
Yeah.
DeSantis put forth was that you cannot mandate masks.
Right.
Children can wear them.
Schools, yeah.
But they don't have
Schools
to.
are forbidden
And yes,
to implement mask mandates.
If a school board, which in the state of Florida, every county is its own school board,
Mhm.
if a county decides to mandate, they will lose state funding, which is,
Right.
huge part of their budgets.
Huge.
However, it's come out that number one, they can't do that. It's in the Florida Constitution that you can't, that you have to have adequately funded schools. So pulling state funding would not allow for that. But at the same time, it's also kind of like do we risk it? And there may be a chance that they pull our funding. It has to go through the courts to figure out who's in the right, who's in the wrong. But I don't know. Are we just going to go on to this topic? I can't remember. But yeah. So anywho, the second largest county in the state, Alachua County, which is around Gainesville, the UF area, they said, "Screw you! We are mandating masks for at least the first 2 weeks, I believe it was." And then Jacksonville or Duval County also did, and then it went on to, is it Brevard or Broward? I always get those two mixed up.
I
think
Broward. I think
Okay.
it's Broward.
I think so too. But they said also, "Screw you! We are mandating masks." And so it's like that first domino fell, and as that happened, like slowly, everyone's like, "Oh, they're doing it. We can't too." So we're going to stand up to big Governor DeSantis.
Right.
And so he's had to backtrack a little bit in the past couple of days of like, well, it would actually mean that you can't do this, but at the same time, he hasn't backed off enough. So,
Right. Well,
let's
come back to, there's a lawsuit I want to talk about. I'm going out of order already. So
it was chaos from the very beginning. I got big teeth.
Here's some things from the chat. Let's see. Carrie says Brevard is ridiculous. Okay, so it's probably Broward.
It's probably
doing
Brevard.
everything.
Oh, sorry.
River says, I don't think you want to hear my anger rant. Yeah, sure we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
River,
we do.
go.
I laugh to keep from crying. There won't be masks here in my county. My children already had COVID, so I'm not super freaked out. That sucks. That sucks. I am so sorry. Your kids already. Oh my God. God, that sucks. Okay, so all of this is spurred. This whole conversation is really spurred on by the fact that we are number one. Go us.
Did it.
Florida now has more new COVID-19 cases and deaths than any other state or territory in the United States.
Hooray, we did it, everyone.
We did it. We're number one.
We tried.
We beat Texas. You hear that, Texas?
Screw you, Texas.
We're number one.
Yeah, screw you, Texas. We got this.
Yeah, screw you, Texas.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Let's see. Florida reported, this is from yesterday. Florida reported 20,133 new cases overnight and 84 new deaths, far and away the highest numbers for COVID illness and death among the states and territories, according to the CDC COVID data tracker. This is coming to us from the Florida Phoenix. Trailing Florida by a long shot are Georgia, reporting 4,000. Right, we were 20,000. Jesus Christ. Georgia reported 4,860 new cases overnight, and Louisiana 4,779. Those are followed by states with fewer than 4,000 cases, 24 states fewer than 1,000, and one, Vermont, with as few as 23. Way to go, Vermont. You're doing the thing.
I'm so... I wish I was you.
In new deaths, Florida's 84 led the nation, followed by Texas with 60, Louisiana 44.
We got it, everyone.
God damn it.
This infuriates me.
Stop
this
the
is
world.
Worse than
I want to get
worse
off.
than last year. Yes, this is worse than last year.
Yeah.
We could have been done with this.
We could have been done with this.
We did this exact same thing last year, and it's...
Yeah. So then when we talk about the schools thing, like, as parents, we made that decision. And again, we talked about this a bit last week. I can't remember if it was on the full show or on the patron thing. Time has no meaning.
Remember.
And but you have to, like, you've got to make these decisions like in the moment. And like I am confident that most of these school districts are going to find themselves in a situation where they're like, well, I guess we're gonna switch and go virtual again. in the middle of the school year.
Again.
When, again, first of all, none of that, we wouldn't have to be here at all right now if everybody just put on the stupid mask and get your stupid vaccine, and we wouldn't be doing this at all. But at the very least, we should have been starting out the school year at least hybrid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know it wasn't easy on a lot of the teachers. I know it wasn't easy. But at the same time, it actually worked pretty well. And there were fewer sicknesses, especially with this Delta variant, which is inordinately affecting children.
Right.
And
they are the unvaccinated population.
Yeah, and they are unvaccinated, which is even worse.
Right.
Yeah, so like the regular COVID was didn't affect kids that much, and so it wasn't that big of a worry. But this one, not so much. Not so much. I just saw a video of a 9-year-old boy today on Twitter, and they had like obviously he's hooked up to all this crap, and they had these paddles on his chest, like,
oh my God,
like pounding on his chest to make his lungs like work, so they wouldn't have to intubate him. I'm like, can you imagine if that was your kid? Like, imagine, and you have to sit there and watch that.
I don't want to imagine.
I don't want to either.
No.
So yeah, like I feel like every school year we're going to start off the school year, buying supplies, buying, clothes or shoes, making new masks.
Right.
That's what I did. So
yeah. Well, springboard out of there into this is my prophecy that schools are going to have to shut down again.
Yep.
They're going to have to go hybrid or full virtual or whatever, because again, we're not taking it seriously as we should. This is a hot story from yesterday too, here in Polk County. With just days to go until the first day of school in Polk County, an elementary school is already closing its doors due to an outbreak of COVID-19. Now, I said last week on the show, we talked about when Becca went to unenroll our kids and went into the office, and it was full of teachers, parents, children, staff, whatever, everybody in there, and nobody wearing masks. And she's like, I'm glad we made the right decision pulling them out of this school. Like, get me out of here.
Yep.
Kids aren't even back yet.
I know. That's a crazy thing.
There are, quote, multiple positive cases of COVID-19 impacting the school. This is Spessard L. Holland Elementary. Polk County Public Schools is working closely with the Florida Department of Health. The news took parents I don't want to do this to you, Robert, but I'm gonna. The news took parents like Robert Hendricks by surprise. Quote, we're kind of in crisis mode, and not in a sense of we're really panicking, but in a sense of we're just trying to figure out what's best for all of our children, he said. I think all of this happened so fast. I think I'm waiting for someone to step in and be the grown-up in the room and say, here's an additional option. Robert, this is not all happening so fast. It's been over a year. We
knew this was coming.
We knew this was coming.
We knew this was coming. I hate being right.
I know. And there are additional options, but your governor has decreed by fiat that those options are off the table.
Yep.
Sure Elections have consequences. There's a bit in here also that makes me really mad too about how they're handling it. But to continue, this is from Bay News 9. The district later confirmed to Spectrum News that 8 staff members have tested positive, and results for others were pending. Just last week, the school posted a picture of a room packed with staff members at a luncheon. Why did we do that?
Why did we do that? What? No.
Ultimately, the statement read, our priority must be the safety of our students, staff, and employees. Elizabeth Buttry's son attends the school. She says cases popped up throughout the last school year, but she was taken off guard by news of the current outbreak. Why? Why were you surprised?
It didn't have to be this way.
Obviously, quote, obviously they see that their teachers are the ones bringing back coronavirus to the campus because there's no kids on campus as of now, she said. Also, she had some questions. What are we doing? Are you separating my kid? Can I request separation? Can I request that the teacher require my child to remember to wear their mask? The answer to that one's no, per Ron DeSantis. The school said it will undergo a deep cleaning before reopening on Monday, and additional staff is available to cover any absences. Students are scheduled to start classes on Tuesday. Cleaning the school does not solve the problem of infected individuals maskless wandering around your school. Oh, Devon died. Satan gotcha. Ooh, Satan gotcha.
She was here. She got me good.
Yeah.
You just got to keep on going when I leave.
Yeah, I do.
Sorry.
Generally.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So there's a already, and then let me see if I can find this real quick. Then we had a whole conversation in our Facebook group about another school educator event that had music teachers all together doing music things.
That does not require air, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
No. Someone commented this in a Polk teacher group. Elementary school music teachers, about 30 of them, were at a training at this school that day at Spessard Holland. And then a couple of our music teacher friends were like, "Yep, we were there." Why are we doing this? We know that we're inviting a COVID spread by getting in a room together. And then it's like, okay, pass around the kazoos. We're going to play a song on the kazoo. And almost half-assedly, I asked, oh, did you play a little song on the kazoo and then hand it to the person on your left so that way at least we're getting maximum COVID spread and like a chickenpox party, right?
Yeah.
Let's just get all the teachers together and get it over with. What are we doing, Devon? What are we doing?
I don't know. We were lulled into this false sense of security 2 months ago when vaccines were all the rage and not everyone obviously. A lot of people got them and the restaurants were opening up and it was great. But we're going
but
that's gone. It's
again,
worse.
hit the reset button again. God.
Damn it. Damn it.
So there was also you started talking about some of the counties that said no, we're going to require masks and screw you.
Yep.
There are also some parents who are now suing over this school mask mandate prohibition. It's parents of students with disabilities.
Yep.
This is from Florida Politics. According to a lawsuit filed shortly after the State Board of Education emergency meeting stemming from DeSantis' executive order, preventing schools from enforcing mask requirements could be deadly for students with disabilities who are at a high risk for illness. Lawyers from Disability Independence Group, the disability advocates who filed the lawsuit, argue that the executive order and its accompanying threat to cut funding to school districts that go forward with mandates violates the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Rehabilitation Act, and the Florida Educational Equity Act.
More than one? What? No.
Prohibiting mask mandates in schools prevents vulnerable students with disabilities from returning to public school classrooms, forcing children to go elsewhere or take virtual classes that might not be suitable for their cognitive abilities. Yes. Of course. Of course.
God. What are we doing for the least of these folks?
Right? Nothing. We're
Nothing.
We're not doing anything.
Like lambs to slaughter.
COVID-19 infections, hospitalizations, and deaths have been on the rise in recent weeks. Florida saw record-breaking hospitalizations this week, too. Yeah, we're setting records all over the place. Meanwhile...
And this is all over Florida. This isn't just the high population areas. It's everywhere.
Meanwhile, reports show an increasing number of hospitalizations among children for COVID-19 not seen in prior surges before the Delta variant. Leon County School Superintendent Rocky Hanna on Wednesday said several of the district's school-aged children had been hospitalized. DeSantis filed his executive order last week as cases began rising, and some school districts hope to implement mask requirements. On Friday, the Board of Education passed emergency rules against COVID-19 harassment, which is the springboard to the next story. COVID-19 harassment.
Why? Why are we catering to these assholes? I'm sorry.
I agree. Like, this is the science denialism. It's killing us. Quite literally.
Literally killing us. Yes.
And why are we tolerating it? Because
why?
Because they're going to pass some pro-business laws, and I like that. Because they're not going to raise my taxes, and I like that.
BS,
is that what we're doing?
They already did raise your taxes.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Dear friend Anna Escamani says this entire effort is likely illegal. They're bending over backwards, all for politics. Senator Gary Farmer, we're big fans of Gary Farmer.
Huge fan.
Sent Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran a letter Thursday claiming the proposed measure breaks state law because it bypassed the legislature. DeSantis has hinted at special session on masks, and he says the Parents' Bill of Rights he signed into law in June ensures parents have the authority to make decisions about their own children's mental and medical health. We talked about that
last week, yeah. That Bill of Rights, it's doing a real humdinger of a bill.
You remember how we tried to tell you that was bad?
I feel like we did something about that. Yeah.
So that brings us then to this COVID-19 harassment. You may be wondering what. You know what? Before we do that, let's take a call.
Oh
wait, no, they hung up. Call back.
Remember, we don't debate.
Right. No, call back.
We don't debate.
Let's see. Susan in the YouTube chat says the school I work at is requiring masks in the fall for everyone, regardless of vaccination status. Then again, I'm in Oregon, so yeah.
Susan,
can you call Florida? Can you call Florida? Just be like, hello, switchboard. Can you connect me to Florida, please?
God damn it.
Let me tell you how things are going out here in Oregon.
God damn it. I'm so jealous right now.
Nobody getting dysentery right now. Okay, so all right. Let's see. 863. You're on the air.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Devon.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Who is this?
Hey, them. Hey. Hey, them. Hey.
Oh, that's right. Hey, them. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, them.
Hi, you.
Out.
Tell it.
Yes, you are out. Congratulations. Sorry, there was a weird pop-up on my screen.
Oh.
Welcome.
You're out of what?
Welcome to being out of patience, out of time, out of
Florida. What's up?
Oh man, I said y'all don't want to hear my angry rant.
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
we do want to hear the angry rant. Go, 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 go.
It's funny how the governor is making all these threats about defunding the schools and everything else. But here's the big question: don't we have the right to a safe education for our children?
We sure do.
We should.
We sure do.
So when the federal government and the national medical, like CDC and the National Physician Association, are sitting here saying, no, vaccinations, mask mandates, social distancing. And our local government is literally doing the exact opposite, especially in our schools where our children cannot be vaccinated. We don't have vaccinations for 11 and under yet.
Right.
This is not a safe school environment.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
We have the new numbers popped up right before you guys went live for the week.
New record.
Depress me some more. Depress me.
138,000 positive cases in the state of Florida for the week. Over 600 deaths in 1 week.
Oh my God.
1 week, guys. 1 week.
I don't want to do this anymore.
A lot of those are breakthrough infections too. It's not like it's like first timers. Like there's been a spike in breakthrough infections. People that have had it before and they're getting
And
it again.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
a lot of these cases are people who are unvaccinated. You know, masks
Mhm.
do help; they work,
Yes.
Mhm.
but it's not 100%. You know,
Yep.
I mean, I worked in retail and food service for a long time. I can't tell you how many people I have seen that do not wash their nasty hands.
Yeah. Oh
There's a
yeah.
reason why those times are in the bathroom. Okay,
Yep.
grown adults.
Right.
Grown adults. It's. Oh, we lost Devon.
Oh, I'm here. I'm back.
Oh, you came back. Mine's flagging on my computer. It's mind blowing
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
And your little Cheeto in the office is literally sitting here saying, "Parents' choice,"
If
Yeah.
they can do it, they
or
want.
"I'm
It's their
going to
kids.
defund the schools if all the school boards decide to go against my wishes,"
Right.
which they can't technically do that.
They cannot.
Right.
It's a
What are you going to do? You're going to close down your local, the entire county schools. So then what's going to happen? You're going to come step in and do what?
Yeah. Right. What's
Either
crazy?
way, schools will be shut down for a bit until you get your stuff together. So,
Yeah.
like, what are you going to do? What do you think that's going to accomplish? I think a lot more of these school boards need to grow up here and step up
Mhm.
and stick it to the man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the little cheater man.
They've started
would-
to, but
Yeah.
not
Some
enough.
of them have.
They
But
not
have
enough.
started to. I've seen where some have, but
Mhm.
a lot more of these schools need to. I knew right away that Polk County was not going to be one of those ones, unfortunately.
oh no.
We were all shocked by that too.
Yeah. Right.
That's
I was-
not a shocker
What's
at
that guy's
all.
name? I was just as shocked as Richard or Robert or whatever his name was.
Richard.
Yeah.
I
The shock.
so
This is happening
surprised.
so fast. I don't understand.
Yeah.
None of
Where
us
have you
did.
been?
Honey,
Where
we've
have you
at it for
been?
a year and a half.
Yep. It seems to me like if you are trying to balance this idea of parents' rights, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay, so why didn't we say, man, schools can have mask mandates if they want, and if you don't like a mask mandate, you can homeschool your kid. How about the opposite?
Yeah.
Huh? How about that?
Uh-huh. I
But we're going to protect the kids who come to school. And if you don't want to play that public health and safety game, fine, take your kid out of school. Why didn't
Yeah.
we do it that way?
Listen, aren't you required to get your children vaccinated?
For all
Thank
the
you.
other things?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Well-
if you do not have all your vaccinations and come time for kindergarten, first day of school, Susie does not have her vaccinations in order. Susie's not being enrolled and going to kindergarten.
Except because of things like the Religious Freedom Restoration Act and all of these other religious exemption laws in the state of Florida and in most states, there is an option for you to exempt your child from those vaccinations on religious or moral or conscientious whatever grounds. And of course, there are kids who can't be vaccinated for medical reasons. That,
And
to
that's-
me,
that's-
medical is the only
that's
exemption that
understandable.
counts.
Yeah.
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 But
Medical is the only reason why I see where that's
Yeah.
even remotely.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people, and people seem to be forgetting, there's a lot of people that cannot get this vaccine. And
Right.
so you're putting not only yourselves and your loved ones at risk, you're putting a lot of individuals at risk. There's a lot of people who are cancer patients, a lot of kids that are cancer patients that cannot,
Mhm.
that are immunocompromised, they cannot receive the vaccine
Right.
either because they have illnesses or because they have, they're allergic. And I've even seen where, I'm on TikTok, okay? And I mean, you know,
So
Because
young
you're
and hip.
young and hip.
I have
Oh my
no-
Young
god,
and
we said
hip.
the same thing at the same time.
So old.
Where's the bell? Did I pack it yet? Oh,
you know,
there it is.
I've actually seen on there where this one this one woman was like, screw it, I'm allergic. I'm just going to take my EpiPen and hope for the best. And, like,
Yep.
does the, cross across her face and shoulders. Like,
Mhm.
I'd rather take the risk of dying from possibly going into shock from getting the vaccine than dying from going
COVID.
and getting COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Because
that
if I have an allergic reaction, they can try to
Mhm.
treat me.
I think it brings up an interesting point about like the requirements for vaccines in schools, because 99.99% of the people that do that paperwork when they put their kids into schools,
Mhm.
they pay no attention to that. There are very few people that claim religious exemptions to
Right.
get for the vaccine stuff. Everyone just gets vaccines because they pull you out of the womb and they start jabbing you with stuff.
Right.
It's just what we
Exactly.
do.
That's
It's just
what we
it's just
do.
what we do.
Mhm.
Um, but that scares me in the fact that going forward, people are more cognizant of this whole vaccine. Oh my God,
Mhm.
what's in them? There's a tracker in them that is going to track my child forever or whatever.
Right.
But like it scares me about how many more religiously based vaccine exemptions we're going to be seeing in schools in the
Yes.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all those other things, for
Everything
measles and
else.
mumps and chickenpox and DPT
Welcome
and
back,
all of that
polio.
stuff. Right.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We missed you.
I mean, and that's just the crazy thing is that, we live in a generation where people don't remember polio, that
Right.
we've never seen it.
Mm-mm.
But if you were to go and look it up, you'd see where they had to live in iron lungs.
Iron lungs.
until
Yes.
where they finally died.
Mhm.
Like, you are literally living
Mhm.
in a machine that
In a
circulates your blood and
giant
makes
metal
you breathe
box.
for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a metal tube or a metal box.
Yes.
Like, guys, come on.
What
people
and
life
that's
is
if you were
that?
lucky.
Yeah.
right.
People
If
like
you
our
were
parents
lucky.
are
And
walking around with a smallpox scar to this day.
Yeah.
Like, we still have smallpox scars on people, and they don't have
Right.
smallpox.
Mhm.
it's
Sorry, I cut you off.
it's mind-blowing to me. It just blows my mind. Like, I don't understand half the thinking. I feel like we just need to, like, make a whole slogan. The vaccine has, the guns and the walls to protect from, this. If you get it, man, you're going to
Use their
get
language.
America.
Yeah.
Wrap it
Like-
up in camo.
Like,
Yes.
wrapped up in
I hate
camo with,
so
Bush
much.
Light or something. You get a free pack of Bush Light or something with it.
Yeah, there you
like,
go. PBR.
Wasn't Coors doing that? Like, or Anheuser-Busch? Like, if everyone gets vaccinated, they'll hand out free
Oh, give them a
Anheuser-Busch or
whole,
something.
Yeah,
year
do it.
supply of beer at this point. I don't care.
Seriously.
Hell yeah.
Just go get your jabby jabs. It's just.
Yeah.
Someone can
Well,
have mine.
The frustrating thing to me, I think, is and we're sort of talking about the education problem at the moment, is that education is the solution to all of this, right? Like, if we had a well-educated public that weren't
Yes.
being science skeptical, crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, your vaccination rates would be up, and your willingness to wear a mask would be higher, and yet, again, elections have consequences. Here, especially here in Florida, we have spent decades systematically destroying public education on purpose.
Mhm.
That's what we do here. And then then this happens, and Florida shoots up to number 1, and we all look around and go, "Wow, I wonder why that is. This is surprising. Why is Florida such a crazy whatever?" Like, we created this.
It's mind blowing. And I'm literally speechless.
Not enough room.
But you're right. It's our education system here in Florida has been completely lacking for years. And the problem is that a lot of the general public literally does not understand how your body works, how your systems work. Okay, doesn't understand anything about your immune system, none of it. So then they don't understand how vaccines actually work. It's not going to keep you from getting the virus. You can still get it. You're least likely to get it, but you can. It can happen, and you can also pass it on to others, right? And because you can be asymptomatic, where you just have no symptoms, you don't get that sick, which is the goal. You don't want to be that sick. That's the whole goal.
Right.
But that's the goal. But in case you do get kind of sick, you're least likely, and show symptoms, you're least likely to go into the hospital. And you're very much least likely to die of COVID-19. People don't understand that if they had gotten their jabs all the way up to 12 years old when they were supposed to, do you realize we could have herd immunity for our younger kids that cannot get it by the time school has started next week?
Yeah.
Herd immunity could have been a thing.
It could have been
for
a thing.
our younger kids, to where they would have been a lot safer. Masks could have been worn for just a little bit longer. Pfizer just put out that they are expecting to have their vaccines for the age groups 5 to 11 years old sometime in October now.
Good.
There's not been any word about the younger under 5 yet, and Moderna still hasn't released anything. It'll probably be well after Christmas for any age group. But I mean, we're so close to being able to at least have a vaccine for our school-aged children.
Right.
And what's really crazy is that there was a 5-year-old little boy that died in Georgia a couple weeks ago from this Delta variant. They're saying that even the NICUs, okay, let me emphasize that, NICUs being neonatal intensive care units, brand new babies right out the womb, are COVID positive. COVID positive, guys. COVID positive.
That's sad.
The hospitals are overrun, and guess what? Last time when we had our numbers so high, which they didn't. I fully expect for them to get much, much higher.
Oh yeah.
Especially the next 3 weeks, you're going to see an obscene, alarming rise in the numbers. It's just going to be off the charts. It's going to be the worst thing you've ever seen. And I actually do fully expect you're going to hear about a lot of children gone.
Yes.
And it breaks my heart. And here's the problem is that when you have to be intubated or anything, you have to be sedated. Okay, guys, these hospitals are running out of sedation. Okay, you have to be sedated to be intubated. And they ran out of it last time. Okay.
Jesus.
There's a lot of drugs in that
Could you imagine these children being intubated and these doctors running out of anesthesia, out of sedation medications to keep them under to keep the kids from being freaking out, waking up, or even you, anybody.
Yeah.
And you have a giant tube down your throat, and your body needs the rest to try to heal itself. That's a proven scientific fact. Okay, guys, this is not funny. This is not a joke. This is serious. And this is a real issue, and the schools are not, and our local government is not doing its job.
No, they're not. They are not. I'm sorry. I have a small child in the room with me. She's really distracting.
This is about to be the worst health crisis anybody has ever seen. I would even say as far back as the plague, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
This is going to be the worst thing anybody has ever seen in at least over hundreds of years. I still
think
the rate that it's going.
I still think, like, One of the things that is contributing is this idea that, like, I know people who have gotten it, like, thinking your average American, whatever, like the level of penetration of this thing, the numbers look like, holy shit, we get it, you and I get it. But there are so many people that are like, I know somebody who got it and they were fine, or I don't know anybody who's died from it, like, personally. And it's, unfortunately, in the same way that, like, until your Republican senator's kid comes out as gay, they don't they don't think about things. Until somebody has been affected, a lot of people can't, just for whatever reason, just can't connect with it. It's frustrating as hell, because we're here trying to be the empathetic, put yourself in someone else's shoes, and yes, humanism. And it's just frustrating as
at
hell.
its core. It should be humanism at its core, even if you don't see it happening directly to you or to those that you love right then and there. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't care about others and to keep them safe. This could be almost eradicated. We could be completely ready to open up completely in a safe way by spring, I would assume, just depending on the vaccine for the youngest one age group. You know, we could be so close. This could literally be so close, and I keep saying it blows my mind that they're not seeing that we just stick it out just a little bit longer. Let's do the thing. We could literally be so close. And again, about people saying, oh, well, I know somebody that got COVID. It wasn't that bad. Guys, there's different strains of COVID, okay? And the reason why we have different strains of COVID is kind of like the same way we get antibiotic-resistant bacteria, okay? We keep passing it. You get a tooth that has a infection in it. You go get antibiotics, okay? You finish them, but you don't go get the tooth taken out. You don't have the problem removed, right? You go back and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go get antibiotics. Well, then you finish that and those antibiotics don't work anymore. Why is that? The bacteria grew stronger. Same thing happens with viruses. You don't protect yourselves, it's going to keep mutating and getting stronger. This Delta variant is worse. And they're having a hard time trying to figure out which patients, keeping on top of which patients have the original COVID, which we'll just call it the original COVID-19, and the difference between the Delta variant, because the hospitals are being overrun. A lot of times they are not even completely testing positive that the patients have had COVID, because they don't come in until they're so sick and the patient never got tested. Okay, so your numbers are actually much higher than what they actually are.
Right. This is the cases we know about, right?
Yeah, that's the cases that you know about. And so they assume that the person died of COVID-19, so then you have the high death rate, yes. But they keep up with the differentiation of the original COVID-19 that we saw first come out, early spring, winter last year in our area, versus the Delta variant, because when you have over 138,000 positive cases, guys.
That's a big number.
Well,
in 1 week. Like the Delta variant is proven, scientifically proven, that it is much, much worse. It is extremely deadly and much easier to catch.
Yep.
Masks work. wash your hands.
Do all the right things.
As far as do all the right things, get vaccinated, get your jabby jab, guys. We are so close. We could have this completely almost eradicated. Yes, we'll still end up having to get the yearly vaccines, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
We do that with the
also
flu
keep in-
anyway.
But it's going to be one of those ordeals where if people just opened up their minds, looked around for a second, guys, we could actually do it.
Yeah.
Even with our numbers, no, it's not too late. We can still do it.
All right. Well, I think that's a good. I
Yep.
think that's a good place to leave it. Great advice, and we'll move on to some other topics.
you guys.
But appreciate you calling
Thank
in. Love you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so
Oh
much.
boy. Yeah. It reminds me of that 1980s song by Tiffany, Could Have Been.
Yeah.
It just plays over my head like we could have been.
So I want to pull on a couple threads from there because you said something about the flu, and while we were
What?
talking, I went and looked up how many Americans get flu shots during the 2018-19 flu season. Is the latest I could find.
Mhm. Yeah.
49.2% of people 6 months and older got a flu vaccine, according to the CDC. 49.2. That kind of tracks with where we are with this thing. Like
it tracks, but it's also but the thing is with flu season, number one, you have to pay for the flu vaccine, like pretty much depending on your insurance. But
right. I
like,
was gonna say my insurance covers it. Woohoo,
we do not. The
Oh,
state
that
of Florida
sucks.
does not
Sounds
cover.
bullshit.
In some places, employers will give it to you for free, but it's also not pushed. It's one of those things like it's not an
yeah, it's
imminent
available.
threat.
It's option.
It's here. You can take it if you want.
Um,
We're not all dying of flu. It's not killing your neighbor. Right. Now.
But the thing about it that sort of popped into my mind and why I wanted to bring it up is, on the topic of this science illiteracy and just how vaccines work, right?
Mhm.
So there are people at my place of employment. Every season this comes around, we have to have this conversation over again. I'm like, go get your vaccine. Go get your flu vaccine. Oh, I got it one time. I got sick. Okay,
Yeah, you had a reaction,
but you didn't
honey.
get the flu. And the people think like, oh, the flu. I got the sniffles and I had to call
It's
in to work
not
a
the
couple
flu.
days. That's not the flu.
That's not the flu.
If you're puking and shitting at the same time and running super high temperatures, and
if you're
need
pulling
to
a
go
Devon
to
in
the
college, you got the flu.
That's
Okay.
different. And like, ugh. Yeah, so you get the flu shot, you can still get sick. Yes, you have absolutely no idea how any of this stuff works, and we're trying to educate you. But if you just please listen to the experts.
No one listens to us.
Yeah, we're not experts. You're a doctor.
I sure am. No one listens to me still. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly.
It took me 20 minutes to get my kid out of the room. So no
Right.
one listens to me.
So before we get back, I have one more new school-related story for Florida, but we wanted to talk a little bit about this monoclonal antibody treatment. So, and we sort of like the story itself is not all that exciting, but it sounds a little hydroxychloroquine.
Ooh,
Like,
it's
I
got
can
some. It's
see
ooh.
people here. Oh, there's a monoclonal antibody. These are words. These are big sciencey words.
These are
and I don't
science
understand
words.
them.
And the other orange Cheeto guy also really touted some cure for this shit. And so now we have Cheeto Jr.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
DeSantis, touting monoclonal antibodies. So I don't know. So that's pretty much what he did. He was touting monoclonal antibodies to treat COVID today.
Right. Which are what?
Oh, jeez.
How does this work? I mean, I have an article.
How does this work? Okay, so I do have a PhD. It's in toxicology. So, and I don't like little things. If you give me a protein, I'm fine. If you give me a brain, I'm fine. Give me a whole animal, an organ, I'm fine. Little crap, I hate. Okay, so how this normally works is you have all this DNA in your body. It gets transcribed into RNA, specifically mRNA or messenger RNA, which then is translated into the proteins that do all the shit. Okay, that's what does the stuff.
You have lost 51 point. What was
I
that
am
number?
so sorry. Okay,
The
so
opposite?
DNA
No, I'm just
is the
saying.
backbone.
I'm
DNA
just
is the
saying.
backbone. Let me do my science communicator.
Okay, do your science thing.
How your body works. You have DNA. Okay, this is the backbone for everything. What color of your eyes, how much hair you have, what diseases you're susceptible to,
Yep.
whatever. Okay, it doesn't do anything in and of itself. It's got to be somehow make it to a protein level. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
proteins are what's binding the receptors, what's doing all the crap. Okay, to get there, it has to be transcribed into RNA, specifically messenger or mRNA. Okay, and that's what you're hearing a lot about with the vaccines.
Yes.
From there, the mRNA is taken out of the nucleus into the cell cytoplasm, or like the inside of the cell that's not the very, very core. And it's translated into the proteins, which then can be secreted out of the cells, and they go do their shit wherever they feel like. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
So we've heard this before. Again, non-immunologist, virologist, whatever. But when you have a cold, or you come across what we're going to call an antigen, something that your body does not really recognize
Mm-hmm.
from that's going to cause an illness, what your body does is produces all this these proteins, these antibodies against these antigens that can then fight, and that's how you have your immune response, and that's how you heal and get better. So monoclonal antibodies technically just means it comes from one source. We don't need to get into antibodies shit in and of itself. So
yes,
two
but
of the
people are going to see the word monoclonal and be like, "What?"
They're going to be like, "What does that even mean?" It comes from one. It comes
you don't need to. It doesn't matter.
Don't worry about that shit.
Right.
Two of our vaccines that we have, the Pfizer and the Moderna, are mRNA vaccines. Okay. So what they're going to do is you're injected with a little bit of the mRNA. Remember, that's the thing that makes the protein that comes from a part of the COVID.
Hold on. Let me handle the vaccine explanation. So here's what we do.
You do that. Yeah.
First of all, we abort a baby, and then
yes. Number one.
First of all,
fetus
aborted baby. We gotta have a baby. No, it's a baby.
No, but once you take out the parts that you're going to eat for dinner, you have some stuff left.
I only joke about this because there is coming up. Stand by. There's some legit, people concerned that this was developed off of cells from an aborted fetus, and so that's my religious whatever. I can't blah blah blah.
Screw that shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay. I don't even know where I was, but
so the vaccine has an inert, inactive piece
little sequence of this mRNA sequence from it's very unique to this specific COVID.
Right, from that virus. Right.
Okay, and so your body, it goes into your body. It's taken into the cell, but not the nucleus. It does not affect your DNA. It doesn't go there. Everybody calm down, okay?
Right.
It goes into the cell. Your cell says, oh my God, it's an mRNA. I know what to do. I'm going to make a protein. I'm going to make an antibody that's going to fight, that's going to recognize this. And so it makes these antibodies, which then when your body is actually exposed to COVID, it's going to be go ahead.
Let me make sure I understand this. Right. So without this, your body gets infected with a coronavirus strain, and your immune system goes, well, what the hell's this?
I ain't ever seen this shit before.
I don't know what to do with this. And then it goes through a process of trying to figure out what to do with it. Right.
It is having something thrown at you at the very last minute on a Friday night. And you've got to figure out all this shit before you leave in 10 minutes.
Right.
That's what your body's doing, is overcompensating, and so then you're going to get sick, because more likely than not, you're not going to be able to make enough antibodies to fight said COVID antigen.
And your body is like, well, how do we fight things? Well, let's raise the temperature and bake it out, and let's
bake it.
So this presents the body with the roadmap of hey, if you see this thing again, now you know what to do about it.
This is the APB. This is the All Points Bulletin. that it's being sent to your body. Your body sees, it knows, and so when it sees that little villain coming in, it can do something about it instead of having to, oh shit,
Right.
at the last minute.
Right.
So when you do get COVID, as I said, you make these antibodies against it. And so what they've been doing when people get COVID is once they feel a little bit better, sometimes they've been taking blood samples and they're extracting antibodies from these people that have had it. They can then synthesize them, replicate them, whatever, make a lot of them. And then when you catch COVID, if you have, if you catch COVID, instead of, I don't know, going to hydroxychloroquine, they can actually inject you with these antibodies to prime your body to fight the infection that's already
because the antibody knows what the virus, because the antibody knows the virus and knows and can tell, it tells your body like, hey, here's what you do with that.
Yes. And so what DeSantis
move over, Bill
today,
Nye, we are the science communicators.
God damn it, why are look at us. We're drunk and we got this. Okay, so this is
there will be a quiz later, so I hope you're taking notes, kids.
I don't do well in tests. But that's what monoclonal antibody treatment is. It is, you don't have you didn't, maybe you did get the vaccine, I don't know, but you didn't have enough of a response.
Right.
Regardless, you come in contact with someone with COVID, you caught it, and hopefully early on, they can inject you with monoclonal antibodies, which can then fight the infection in addition to what your body is already doing. So DeSantis came out and said we need to be, touting this treatment. Let's utilize this shit, And first thing, once you test positive, request this. It has the remnants of like the hydroxychloroquine, like when there was the run on when Trump was like, this cures it all. Right. And so people just started eating their fish food or whatever the hell it was, or their fish tank cleaner. And hydroxychloroquine was just off the shelves, which it's a legitimate treatment for lupus and other autoimmune diseases.
Right. Yeah.
The people that actually needed it could not get it. So it has shades of that, which makes me feel funny on the inside, but it is a legit treatment for a lot of things. Right. At the same time, I just want to say that when it also it's analogous for me to the morning after pill. It's like, I don't know.
Oh, we can all go out and get COVID and then just go ask for this,
and then just go into the hospital, get some monoclonal antibodies.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But we here we can't,
right. Well, my first concern was, like you said, people are going to see this. They're going to think, oh, I don't know what that is, but it sure sounds, shady.
I'm going to go ask for it now.
And because like the source, Ron DeSantis, is not particularly reliable source for scientific information, I could understand why you would, anything that comes from him that you're skeptical about. And so we wanted to just be like, no. This is a real thing. Here's what it is. Here's how it works. So when you do hear about it, and now you know.
And now we talk about G.I. Joe. But what you could do to like kind of skip this stuff, I don't know, is to wear a mask, get a vaccine, and then You mean
not get COVID?
Maybe try not to get COVID. And if you do, it happens. Shit happens, guys.
Right.
We understand, but do the best you can to prevent it. So. Yeah. So that's a little bit of dispelling some DeSantis hate, I guess, but
well, we're not done.
Well, never mind. Never mind.
Well, I guess this is DeSantis adjacent, right? The final, the Florida story for the school problem is, and again, we sort of touched on this earlier, but we didn't really dig into it. Is this the Florida Board of Education with their COVID-19 harassment thing. I want to read to you.
Please do.
The language in the rule defined as COVID-19 harassment, quote, any threatening, discriminatory, insulting, or dehumanizing verbal, written, or physical conduct.
Stop right there. Dehumanizing after this last legislative session.
Any individual student suffers in relation to or as a result of school district protocols for COVID-19, including masking requirements, the separation or isolation of students, or COVID-19 testing requirements that have the effect of substantially interfering with a student's educational performance, opportunities, or benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So any policy the school puts in place to protect its students from COVID-19 is harassment.
Sure is.
What?
And when
Well, this is like how did we get into the mirror universe again?
I don't
Like,
know because
that's
I
a Star
feel like
Trek reference.
I know Princess Leia. I understand. But
I do have like Leia buttons in
you
my
do.
headphones.
Good job. God, why? This is the man who comes out and actually says no one should be bullied for wearing a mask, and then bullies someone in the front row for wearing "quote unquote" 6 masks. What's wrong with you? Like, why can't those of us who want our kids to wear masks and who do the vaccine thing?
Yep.
Why are we being harassed with the threat of getting COVID? Like, why? There's a fruit fly in here, and I hate those things. Why? Like, why is it okay for us to be harassed?
Yeah.
Based on the definition he just put forth.
Vice Chair, this is Leon County. State Board of Education discussed the rule on telephone call, made it difficult for listeners to know who was talking. It's 2021, and you didn't do a Zoom? Like, come on. There was only about 15 minutes of public comment. A Leon County parent called the situation a moral outrage, saying that the language in the new rule is irresponsible and reckless.
Thank you.
Hard agree.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Ben Gibson said the rule prioritized parental choice. With, quote, with COVID-19, you have school districts across the state who are adopting various protocols. This is a changing situation. It's a fluid situation, Gibson said. I don't ever want to hear that word again. When we shut down last year, oh, this is a very fluid situation. Again, we've known this was coming.
It hasn't solidified yet. It's been fluid this whole freaking time. Shut your pie holes.
As the districts, adopt these COVID-19 protocols, I think it's important that if a parent believes that their student is subject to some sort of harassment, and likely that's going to be based on a parent making a health or education decision for their child, this again gives parents the ability to move a child to another school and take advantage of it. The mask conversation reignites Florida constitutional question about which entity has more authority over Florida schools, the state or local school boards. So here's what this particular policy allows. Don't like your school's policy on masks? Well, you can just access some of that voucher money that they keep taking from our
vouchers.
Taxes.
Florida does love its vouchers.
Effective immediately, families can apply for taxpayer-funded scholarships designed to help students suffering from bullying and other so-called COVID-19 harassments. This is the HOPE scholarships. Were intended to help students who have experienced bullying, harassment, assault, or were hurt in other ways. Now it's been expanded to include mask-related issues that families would consider harassment. What the hell? So you can transfer your kid to a private school because you don't like the mask policy, which the governor says your school can't do anyway, which, okay, whatever. Because that's harassment, and it's
got to be a taxpayer expense as well.
Right.
So this all makes sense. I think I heard something about on the call. Someone asked, well, what if I want to apply for that money to send my kid to a school that's safe, that requires masks.
Right.
Click. No comment.
Wow.
No response. So, I mean, I'm half tempted to apply to get my kids to like a body condom school or something. See what happens.
Yes.
This
is nuts,
I believe
this is nuts.
I think Allison Gill makes the comment with American Atheist. She's always says like Florida's never seen a voucher bill that it doesn't like.
Oh, we love them. Yeah,
we love them.
Oh yeah, we love them here.
When
we are the state that other states come to go, How'd you do that voucher bill thing?
Tell me
I kind of
more
like
about
that.
one. That's good.
Yeah. Give me the
Yeah.
playbook.
We've got that. Yeah, like, and so this is just more money taken from our public schools going to, quite honestly, places that don't deserve it and that aren't.
Your thunderstorm is here now, by the way.
Oh, it's there. Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's just a little gray outside right now,
It's
a little rainy. So yeah,
Oh, God.
things are great.
Things are great.
School
We're
had-
doing
school had-
so
wait.
well.
Wait, why are they asking for money for COVID harassment if schools haven't started yet? Who the fuck is harassing those kids?
Right.
Come on.
Ugh.
Maybe this wasn't about education after all.
You don't say.
I did say that out loud. Oh my god, I did.
Oh my god. Okay, so then the last COVID story that I have is not a Florida story. This is a Louisiana story. But you need to know about it because it's insidious, and don't be surprised when it shows up here. This comes to us from WGNO, New Orleans. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry has sent an email blast to his Department of Justice employees to help them, quote, safeguard their loved ones' mental, social, and emotional wellness from government mandates. The AG sent his team 2 forms that families can use to object to mask mandates and future vaccination mandates at K-12 schools. Now, remember how we talked about all this religious exemption stuff and RFRA and yeah. So there's 2 different ones. The email went out Monday afternoon, about 2 hours before their governor held a news conference re-implementing his indoor mask mandate. AG Landry said, Louisiana law offers robust and broad protections for students and parents' religious and philosophical objections to certain state public health policies. The AG cites Louisiana law as well as
What? Wait, it's
the Bible.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a prop.
I'm sorry, hold on.
The Bible. There we go.
Guess what? Mine's empty. Ooh. It's a journal.
Yours is better.
I know it is.
Cited the Louisiana law as well as the Bible as reasons why parents can opt their kids out of following school district COVID guidelines. Quote, please know that this is not legal. Don't take legal advice from an attorney general. Please know that this is not legal advice. Rather, it is providing you with information that you may choose to use, Landry said in his email, as the attorney general. My position remains unchanged. I trust you to make proper decisions for your health and the well-being of your family and our team. And I continue to pray that you all stay safe and keep up your great public service for Louisiana's people. We don't need to be praying in government emails either. But okay.
We can't trust people
to do the right thing. Have you seen people? Okay. The government's mandate. The governor's mandate requires those 5 years old and up to wear a mask indoors. The governor said ultimately residents did not do their part to slow the spread of COVID-19. Now he maintains it's time to do what is proven to work during previous surges. As vaccine hesitancy remains and some flat out refuse to follow the governor's mandate, Edwards said, if you're a citizen out there or you're a parish president or you're sitting on a school board or whatever, and you're thinking, man, I just don't want to do this. What public health expert are you consulting? What epidemiologist are you talking to? What data are you looking at? Edwards goes on. Do you give a damn? I hope you do. I do. I've heard it said often that Louisiana is the most pro-life state in the nation. I want to believe that. It ought to mean something. In this context, it ought to mean something. Multiple health leaders from across the state have said more younger kids are becoming infected and dying as those under 12 are not able to receive vaccines. Oh, God. So here's the forms.
Oh, God.
One of the forms that Landry sent out.
Is it written in crayon? Please tell me it's written in crayon.
No.
Oh.
It says, quote, I have religious objections to injecting this is a quote. from a form that you can fill out. Okay. I have religious objections to injecting my child with a product that uses fetal stem cell lines in its development or testing.
Well, thankfully, we don't have those.
What? But I heard that this is from babies that were aborted weeks, like days before they were going to be born, or whatever these people believe.
My own personal aborted baby from 1996. People deal with it.
So, like,
That was a little TMI. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Remember, this was like aborted fetal tissue from like 1886, and then
Very much so.
They
Yes.
keep like, I don't know. Let's go back to like, you jumped way far ahead with like how cells work and proteins
cells.
and all of that stuff. Let's go
cells.
back even farther. So you got a cell,
Mhm.
and what cells do is they divide.
Yes, most of them do.
Most of
Neurons,
them
not
do.
so much.
What about
Yeah.
fetal stem cell tissue? Does that
God.
divide?
I
So-
feel like it should, because that fetus gets bigger than, I don't know, the head of a pin.
Oh, you think so? So
Yeah, it sure does.
So we've got a cell from an aborted fetus, and then it divides,
Yes.
and then those divide, and then those divide. Do you remember that?
And then
opening?
stops. After
Do you
5
remember-
times, it stops. It
Then
stops
it
after 5 times. It stops.
Do you
It
remember
stops.
the opening sequence of? Oh God, what was that movie?
Probably not.
Baby,
I'm just.
Baby Talk or something like that.
Look who's talking.
Look Who's Talking. Maybe that's what it was.
I don't
Yeah.
remember the opening
Where
sequence.
you have to Google it
I
now.
probably wasn't.
It
allowed to
shows
watch
like
that.
the dividing of cells and like the development of the fetus. It was
That's gross. Ew.
interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so it's not like every time we need to make another batch of this stuff, we just go out and suck some
Kill the baby.
fetuses out of somebody. Like,
No, it's.
stop it. Stop it.
Have we ever heard of Henrietta Lacks yet? Come on, HeLa cells. They've been around. They've been around longer than I have been, and they're from a woman back in the 50s. Read about the life of Henrietta Lacks. Her personal cells have saved lives,
Yes. Exactly.
and she's been dead for decades. So,
Mhm.
well, a really long time. I don't actually know. Can't remember now. But
Yeah.
come on, people.
So now I have a religious objection, a moral objection to using, to injecting my child with anything that has, oh my God. The other form says, quote, I have philosophical objections to your mask mandate.
I can't even spell that word. So no.
I do not consent to forced immunization or face covering on my healthy child. I assume that's what it says, who is at minimal risk of hospitalization or death from COVID. I feel like we've addressed all of those points already tonight,
False.
so let's not like go back to that. But yes, it's false.
And also, there's a reason why your kid's healthy is because they've had immunization so far. So
Yes.
shove it right up your ass.
Right. Dr. Klein, who's this Dr. Klein?
Oh,
Mark.
I know him.
Dr. Do you?
No.
Dr. Mark. He's a doctor. Don't you all know each other?
We're all BFFs. We hang out.
Dr. Mark Klein with Children's Hospital New Orleans said it's a myth that only children with underlying conditions get sick with COVID. Dr. Klein said the Delta variant makes up at least half of the patients being treated at Children's Hospital New Orleans who were perfectly healthy before they were admitted. He also
The restraint on that man. The restraint on that man.
Right.
I can imagine like the press person coming in, like, hey.
Listen.
We've got the new station in the office. Can you please just give him a quote? And he's like, yeah, I'll tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm going to tell them to get their goddamn vaccine. He's like, no, you can't do
No,
that.
you can't do that.
Just gotta
No.
Tone it down. Tone it down. That man.
Edwards said, we can't send children back into the schools unvaccinated and unmasked. Quite frankly, we need the safest possible setting for them. Dr. Klein added, though school will be opening, we will have tools to keep kids safe and out of the hospital.
If we choose to use them.
Yes. So the point of that was one, to address the stupid fetal cell thing. But like, there are other states. We're not the only one. I know it's hard to believe. There are other states.
There's something outside
some
of
of
Florida.
them are doing the things the right way. Some of them are not.
Some of them are not.
Oregon seems to have maybe they're getting their shit together. I don't know,
Damn
but like
Oregon.
even and so for as a 501c3, we're not a part of an organization.
We have
blah,
no.
blah.
We
But like
exactly yes.
as we're not campaigning for anybody. So,
Nope.
But historically speaking, the states that have done worst have tended to have Republican leadership. And the states that are doing better tend to be those with Democratic leadership. And I read an article today that I didn't pull for the show, but I should have, that talked about how like even Republican governors, not ours, even Republican governors are starting to come around on like, okay, listen, this is a real thing, and we can't pretend like this is a hoax anymore. Like we gotta do something about this.
Like
Not
you
Florida.
just read the quote from Louisiana's governor, John
Right.
Bell Edwards. Like, that was
Right.
actually pretty strong coming from him.
Yeah, right.
And then what is it, Asa Hutchinson in Arkansas?
Mhm.
He was like, maybe we shouldn't have lifted that mask mandate. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
ball,
you
sir.
think?
Not enough, but I mean, good for you. Thank you. I mean, when your leaders say something like
Yeah.
that, and they have not had a history of doing that, it makes a
Mhm.
difference. If
Yes.
only ours would actually say something
Yep.
about anything. Admit
Yep.
to having the vaccine.
Right. At the very least. Yeah, that's the other
Saying-
thing. All of these people who are up here talking about how it's a hoax and it's not that bad, and blah 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 blah.
They've been vaccinated.
They've been vaccinated.
They're first in line.
Yep. Other companies, I saw another airline, United. I don't remember which one. So I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think it was United. Requiring all employees to get vaccinated. Like,
Good.
I think we're just going to see, we talked last week about Disney and some others, but like, I think you're going to see more and more megala corporations implementing policies like that. Good. Yes.
Good.
Absolutely good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some hope there, but
Again, I work on a campus that has the students coming back next week, 25% vaccination. And we're not allowed to do hybrid. Like, we can't do Zoom.
it's insanity is what that is.
I can't wait.
Insanity.
It's going to be fun.
The final story, I don't want to talk about COVID anymore.
Why?
Well, because I'm
So
over
fun.
it. Get your vaccine, wash your hands, do all the things.
Well,
The last story I want to talk about today, well, it's got a medical tie.
ooh, tell me more.
It has a medical tie-in. Well, you may know down here in the Central Florida lands, there exists the Disney of the Jesus Land, the Holy Land
Town.
Experience theme park.
I've been wanting to go to it
Have
so
you
badly,
been?
but I refuse to pay. I refuse to
Yeah,
pay.
me too. Same.
I
Yep.
don't want to pay for it.
There was like early on in our formation of our organization, we talked about like, oh, let's do a field trip. I'm like, okay, well, but what are we gonna do? Just go there to be assholes? Like, let's not do that. Let's not be those people. Yeah, let's not be those people. And we don't want to give them any money. So
Exactly.
it turns out lots of people have not been wanting to give them money for a long, long time because they have been in financial ruin for a long, long time.
I'm shocked.
Right.
But that story is always changing. The displays are always, different every time. Every time. No?
This comes to us from the Religion News Network. I want to start in the middle and bury the lead, I think. The park's original owner, Marvin Rosenthal, there's a name, called the park a living museum. Since its founding, the attraction has been overt about its mission to proselytize as well as educate and entertain. It's a nonprofit organization, by the way. The park boasted theatrical productions and reenactments of stories from the life of Jesus in the Hebrew scriptures. You could break bread with Jesus. That's a thing they did there. You could like go legit break bread with Jesus.
I would love to.
Right? The Christian community.
Wait, does Keith work there? Does Keith work there?
Which one? Both.
They both do.
Like
both Keiths in Florida look like Jesus. Come on.
They do. It's like when you go to work for Disney, they're like, there's only one Mickey Mouse. No, Devin. There's only one Mickey Mouse. There's only one. Well, there's only one Jesus.
Oh, that's
Anyway.
right. It's
So
weekend.
the Christian Community Live Church in Orlando holds its worship services in its 2,000-seat Church of All Nations Theater. The Holy Land Experience, quote, the Holy Land Experience brings the Word of God, the Word of the Bible to life. As a Christian-based theme park, our goal is for you to see God's Word exalted, so you will be encouraged, the park's website says. Its explicitly religious mission and annual day of free admission have granted. So there is a
Tell me
free
more.
admission day, and that's
Oh, we're going.
we call it Atheist Day, like
Oh, we
because
have to go then.
that's who goes. Have granted the park relief from property taxes.
Oh,
In 2006, the park
interesting.
benefited when then Governor Jeb Bush. Oh, he's been the topic of the night, talking about voucher programs. That was a Jeb Bush thing. Jeb Bush signed into law a bill that exempted nonprofit organizations that displayed information about the Bible from paying property taxes.
Oh, God
Again,
damn it, Jebs.
another religious exemption, another privileging of Christianity.
In Florida?
I know it's hard to believe.
It's really hard to believe.
But despite all of that, the park still struggled financially. In 2007, the park was purchased by Trinity Broadcasting Network.
I love them. They do good work.
It was yeah, they do. It was reported to be $8 million in debt. Management experimented with a variety of attractions to entice more visitors and bulk up revenue streams, including a biblical-themed mini golf course called Trinity. Get it? Golf course, which opened in December 2015. Its 9 holes took players through Noah's Ark and Jonah's Whale. All that ended in January 2020.
What?
At the beginning of 2020, Trinity Broadcast Network announced the park would focus on displaying biblical artifacts and education and cease live performances and reenactments. No more lunch with Jesus.
No more Jesus?
In February, the park laid off 118 employees as part of this change in direction, according to the Orlando Sentinel. Sentinel also reported the park was on the market as of that February.
Are you...
Drum roll, please. Who's the new buyer?
Oh my God. Jesus, please let me Jesus. Please let me
The Holy Land Experience, Christian-based theme park in Orlando, Florida, has been purchased by a Seventh-day Adventist healthcare company.
Wait, they do healthcare?
Advent Health.
Are they allowed to do healthcare?
Yes. All of the hospitals around here have been bought up by Advent Health lately. Just the one up the road from us here recently transitioned over to Advent Health.
Maybe I'm getting my religions mixed up, but they don't do blood transfusions, or is that J-Dubs? I know J-Dubs don't.
J-Dubs don't.
But
do
Seventh
blood
Day, they
transfusion.
don't do it either, do they?
I don't know, but how do you be? Because I know they're like big on like vegetarianism or veganism. And
they don't
so,
do
like,
holidays either.
Do you serve? What do you serve patients in the hospital? Is there like meatloaf and shit, or do you have to? Is it all anyway?
Jello.
That's not
vegetarian Jello.
That's not at all the point. The point is this: when you go to the hospital and pay untold fuck tons of money for your hospital stay, you first of all, assuming you have insurance, you've paid untold fuck tons of money to your insurance company. Right?
Yes.
And then if they approve your claim, they might pay for part of your medical care after you paid the copays and the deductibles and the out-of-pocket maximums and all of this stuff. Then your insurance company pays. And this money goes to Advent Health, and what do they do with it? They buy a fucking Bible theme park.
Good for them. Good job, everybody.
Good.
What are they going to do?
$32 million, Devon.
It's on the highway. It's right on the highway, though. It's right on the highway.
It's prime real estate.
Prime real estate.
Yes.
I do know that about it. But
yeah.
They don't do caffeine. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they're like, it's a mixture of like Mormon-y things and JWE things and different.
I don't understand. But I don't get it. But okay, so
$32 million they paid for this thing.
Is it better if they turn it into like a community health center?
I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
No,
they're gonna turn it into like an outpatient surgery center, if anything. to bring in the money.
Well, local news outlets report that Advent Health plans to repurpose the site as a healthcare facility.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Look at that.
I mean, at least it's going to have a purpose.
Wait.
There's that.
Wait, are they going to hire Jesus back, and then Jesus is just going to go room to room
He's
and
a chaplain.
touch people and
He's a
heal
chaplain.
them?
He's like,
Yeah. Oh, River says, hi, I see you. Okay, so we're
oh my
back.
God, hey, River,
We're
we're back. Okay, thank you, River.
Let me bitch for a second about Facebook and YouTube.
Let's bitch.
So Facebook.
We're going to take a break from our lunch with Jesus.
Yes.
And,
Yes. This is a positive for Facebook, so take that for what it is. But like the way this software works, and not this software necessarily, but like the Facebook and the YouTube software. If your feed gets interrupted, and it did, the whole damn computer froze. The mouse locked up. I couldn't control alt delete, couldn't do anything. Had to power it off, power it back on. When we come back, if I restart the feed, Facebook reconnects to the feed that you had been connected to and picks up right where it left off. YouTube does not.
Fuck you, YouTube.
Right? YouTube's like, that stream is over. No. You have to start a new one. I'm not starting a new one. Screw you.
I ain't doing shit, YouTube.
Okay, so we were having lunch with Jesus.
We were having lunch with Jesus. I really, guys, I think this is a great marketing opportunity. They could probably get some insurance money somehow. There's some loophole about that shit.
Right. Laying on of hands. Jesus comes to your room.
Alternative medicine.
Yeah.
There's so much they can do.
Yeah.
So much they can do.
How do you feel about, like, in general? This is such a loaded question. How do you feel, like, in general about, like, religiously operated medical facilities?
I do not like them.
I don't either.
I do not like them, Sam. I am. I mean, on one hand,
as long as you're following the science and providing all of the services, like, I guess I don't care what
if you're not denying care.
Right.
Denials of care is very important to me. As long as you're not doing that, you're not pushing and proselytizing your beliefs on people. I mean, religious organizations do have a lot of healthcare facilities that are the only healthcare
That's the only place,
healthcare facilities in the area that you can go to.
Yeah.
But say, I don't know, you go in and you want to get a tubal ligation during your C-section because you're done having kids, and they say, no, we don't do that, and we're not going to tell you that we're not doing that either.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just looked off screen because Becca and I have had this conversation recently.
Oh.
Well, are you sure you're done with having kids, though? Are you sure? Maybe you should go talk to your husband first.
Don't you? No, I will not talk to him at all.
I'm sorry, we're not on speaking terms anymore.
We don't talk about anything. No, but
or in this case, my husband's my wife now, and she doesn't care. So
you can't even go to one of those religious hospitals. No, you can't even go into them.
No, I can't. No, there's like a force field around the property.
You just bounce. You just bounce right off. Oh God.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
But I mean, they take up such a huge percentage of the healthcare facilities that we have in the United States.
They do.
Large number, and sometimes it's kind of all we got. But I'm of the opinion, if they're providing a service that is equal to everywhere else, a secular place, then great. Thank you. Thank you for that.
It still has River on the line. Why didn't you
River,
tell me that?
River,
you tried to tell me that.
I did tell you that. It's like, River's still on the line. JK. So yeah, that's my we're trying to address this in this year's legislative session, Florida legislative session, denials of care.
Yes.
Please contact us if you would like more info on this. But we're pushing a Healthcare Transparency Act. We have talked about this before in the show. I'm still gonna talk about it.
Yes.
But what this act does is it addresses denials of care by medical systems, not necessarily individual providers, but medical systems like a Catholic hospital or something.
Right.
So they are allowed to deny essential healthcare to someone for whatever reason they want. It
Yep.
doesn't have to be necessarily be a religious belief, but usually it's based on some sort of religiously held or belief, sincerely
Right.
held religious belief. So they can deny care to LGBTQ people, or they can deny contraception or whatever to people that are looking to stop having kids. They can deny. Don't have to agree with your DNR, your do not resuscitate
Right.
orders, your end of life care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's fine. They are allowed to do that, but the point of the HCTA is to address that and make sure that they tell the patient before
Ahead
they
of
make the
time.
damn appointment
Right.
that we don't do this.
Yep.
So find care elsewhere if this is something that you want to have done. Save us. It saves
Yes.
everyone the time and money. Let's be honest. So that's the point of this. We are currently shopping around for sponsors. So we'll keep you updated on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because in Florida, citizens cannot submit legislation. It has to be done by a sponsor, a legislative
Right.
sponsor.
Right.
So.
And that's such a thing too. Like if you've been watching the show from like the beginning of the year, that it's a lot. Like each legislator gets to file a certain number of pieces of legislation, and so
In
they
the
have
House,
to
they're limited to 7.
prioritize.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to prioritize like what, and they're looking at things like, well, will this be effective? Like, will we actually get this passed?
Yeah.
Or is this worth pushing as a statement piece, even though we know it won't get passed? Or like, there's so many moving parts to how all of that stuff works that it makes it tough.
And it's scary because
this one's important because it's it's about healthcare and access to healthcare, which we are all really fighting for, especially with what we've been seeing going on.
And we're not stopping them from being bigots. They can still discriminate all they want. They still don't have to perform those procedures. They just need to let people know that they don't do it. That's all.
Yep. I mean, I'd like for them to not be bigots, but in the current
don't we all?
situation, whatever, we don't have that.
It's Florida. We got to take what we can get.
Right.
Whew, it's tough.
All right. Well, hey, let's wrap it up. Talk about what you have coming up. What's the Humanist of Tallahassee? TLH. I feel like I need to make a radio announcement.
I'm the hot president. So I'm drinking some bubbly tonight. I don't know if you noticed. Because we just were granted a American Humanist Association grant to continue our project with Trinity United Methodist Church, which is a very progressive, people-focused congregation here in town. They've had for about a decade now. They've been handing out snack packs to the unhoused population in the downtown Tallahassee area, and so we are kind of joining in with them. We're also going to put together hygiene packs, so it's like baggies with like a deodorant, razor, socks, a washcloth, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, shampoo, blah blah blah. If you were interested or you want to help donate to that, you can go to our website at humanisttlh.com/donate. So you can do that. But we did just get a grant to help us continue that project. So I'm super stoked about it.
Yay.
That's
awesome.
That's that.
Do you have any like recap for like, so you were doing some other stuff too, or you were collecting bikes and box fans, and you guys have been doing a lot.
The box fan, they actually, thanks to Representative Allison Tant, they actually fill the backlog of box fans for elderly people in Tallahassee, which is pretty insane. She got like 150 something on like her birthday. She had a birthday drive.
That's awesome.
She's awesome. So yeah, so that happened. We did have a bit of an acute need this past week with the current Kearney Center, which is the homeless shelter in town. They lost a lot of staff. They don't have a kitchen manager, so we were asking for food and donations, and that we got some from that. But yeah, that happened there. Oh, and the bike drive, we got a couple bikes from that for adult refugees that are coming into the United States via the International Rescue Committee, the IRC. We did get a couple bikes. They are currently being repaired. That was a project we had with the the Jewish congregation in town, Temple Israel. They are awesome. So
I really like that you're doing a lot of that work across across the aisle, so to speak.
across the aisle, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
I think we all need to be doing more of that, and I
Mhm.
know that that's not an always popular opinion,
It's not. I know it's not.
but I think we're right, and
I
that's all
I
that matters.
agree. I agree. Like, there are stipulations. Like, if the group
Yeah,
proselytizes,
right,
we're not down with that. We're just there to help people, and so
right.
far we've lucked out. And also, a lot of people don't want to work with atheists. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. It's
right.
it's really difficult to find a group that wants to work with atheists.
Yes, and when you get them, and
Yeah,
they're decent people, and they're not like operating conversion therapy
yeah,
camps or whatever.
exactly.
Like, okay,
It's
cool, we'll
great.
work together. Yeah,
It's great, but by that same token, like, starting something on your own as an atheist is not easy. Like,
right, right.
we're the humanist group. We had to have humanist in our name, so that it does help a little bit because
Yes,
people don't really know what that means sometimes.
tempers it a little bit. Yeah,
It does. It does. It softens the blow. But
yeah,
like, if you're an atheist group starting something, no one wants to
yeah.
join in.
You have to. Well, like we did here. You have to, kind of get out there and go at your own a little bit and
Mhm.
prove to
Yep.
people, like,
Yeah.
hey, we're not the baby eating monsters that
Yeah.
you were told that your preacher told us we
Yeah.
are. Like, we're not that
It's a
at
lot.
all.
It's a lot of legwork on the front end.
It
Like,
is. It really
it's
is.
a ton of legwork. It's a lot of work on the front end
Yep.
to get to that point. But I think we finally got to that point, and the plans coming together.
Yay.
So maniacal laugh.
Maniacal laugh.
So that's what's happening with us. I
Cool.
think.
We got a grant too.
I
Our
love money.
grant came from Spectrum. Oh, we talked about Spectrum earlier. Big News 9. Spectrum has given us a grant, which will be it's for our Weekends Without Hunger program, aka the
Mhm.
backpack program.
Mhm.
And so we have a budget of $5,000 for that
Mhm.
program annually that allows
Mhm.
us to serve 25 students and their families. I had to check with the judges. 25 students and families at one school. And so Spectrum has doubled the money with a
Oh,
$5,000
nice.
grant that'll allow us to pick up an additional 25 students or families at that
Mhm.
same school or maybe
Nice.
at a different school. We're not really sure how that's going to work out yet, but
Mhm.
but that's awesome. That's the one,
That's sweet.
sir. Again, we talked so many times about like just imagine being a kid and your last meal Friday at school at lunch, and then you don't have anything to eat at home until Monday morning when you get back to school. Like,
I can't.
oh,
I can't imagine going more than an hour
right,
without food.
without
I'm
an Oreo or a Twix bar or something. Yeah. Oh, I think Devon froze. That's a great face to freeze on too. That's wonderful. Well, we're gonna just assume that Devon's gone, and I'm gonna take over the last of the show here. We want you to know that you can also go to fif.show/scholarship. We still have applications open there are many scholarships being offered by the Secular Student Alliance. And so you can go to fif.show/scholarship. The Atheist community of Polk County is sponsoring a $1,000 scholarship, and the Florida Humanist Association is doing one, and the Central Florida Freethought community is doing one. There's like 7 or 8 Florida specific ones. If you're not in Florida, still go to that link. There is the main Secular Student Alliance scholarship. And then there are different organizations all over the place, all over the country that are sponsoring various scholarships. So fif.show/scholarship to apply. August 31st, we're on the countdown now. We're wrapping up the last month of scholarships being applications being open. So go get that done. Don't wait. Do it right now. And then that's it for this week. But next week on Freethought in Florida, that's next week on Freethought in Florida at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. I don't know what we're doing next week. But it'll be fun. I know that. And maybe Devon will be back if, I don't know, Satan didn't even get her this time. She just froze. Freethought in Florida is available on YouTube, Facebook, all the popular podcast players. You can find us at fif.show and subscribe from there. Send us an email to info@fif.show. Like, subscribe, share out all the episodes, and help us reach a broader audience. Helps a great deal. And of course, remember the most important things. There's more than 3 now, but we'll go with the 3. Wash your hands, get your vaccine, and be kind to each other. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you next week on Freethought in Florida.